SCP-173 is a statue made from concrete and rebar, with traces of Krylon brand spray paint. It is classified as Euclid, but this SCP is incredibly dangerous as it is unable to move when under direct observation. As long as at least one person has their eyes directly on it, it remains completely still, like any other statue. However, the moment line of sight is broken, even for a fraction of a second, like when you blink, or if a light flickers, or if you look away, SCP-173 moves at incredibly high speeds. It doesn't walk or run, it seems to instantly teleport or reposition itself. SCP-173's goal, once it can move, is to attack living beings by snapping their necks. It does this with immense force and speed. You don't have any chances of survival as humans have to blink. Even if you're staring directly at it, you'll eventually need to close your eyes. That single moment is all SCP-173 needs. It makes no sound, gives no warning. 1 second it's across the room, the next it's right in front of you. SCP-096 is a tall, very skinny, human-like creature with very long arms and legs, its skin pale and see-through, showing no clear eyes on its face, and its mouth able to open very wide. The main danger of SCP-096 lies in what happens if anyone sees its face, as it doesn't matter if you see it directly in a photo, a video, or even a drawing. That is why keeping SCP-96 locked up is incredibly difficult, because just seeing its face triggers its attack, and even a quick or indirect look at its face starts the chase, which is very hard to stop once it begins. Due to this, everyone who works with it has to follow very strict rules about not looking at its face, and no pictures of it are allowed to be shared. Once you see it, you're doomed. It begins to scream and cry, covering its face with its hands for a few minutes. But then it comes for you. Nothing can stop it. No walls, no doors, no mountains, and it doesn't matter where you are. It runs faster than anything, finding you, and when it does, it rips you apart, giving no warning, which is certainly why you have zero chance of surviving. SCP-053 is a creature whose very presence twists the minds of those around her. She's not a monster with claws or fangs, but her danger is far more insidious, affecting the mind and body in ways that defy understanding. She's just a little girl, but one you can never truly approach. One of SCP-053's most terrifying abilities is her psychotic influence, as if any individual spends more than 10 minutes in her presence, or if they attempt to harm her, an uncontrollable homicidal rage begins to boil within them. This isn't just anger, it's a profound, irrational fury directed almost exclusively at SCP-053 herself, and the affected individual will lash out with extreme violence, attempting to kill her with whatever means are at hand. This transformation happens swiftly, almost like a switch is flipped, turning a normal person into a murderous frenzy. Another terrifying power she has is that she heals instantly and always gets back at anyone who harms her, no matter how badly she's hurt, and many people under her influence have tried to harm her. SCP-053 just gets better right away. Every wound, every broken bone, every fatal injury simply vanishes as if it never happened. And immediately after she regenerates, the individual who attempted to harm her collapses, dead. The cause is usually a massive heart attack or a brain hemorrhage. It's a silent, undeniable justice, an unstoppable force meeting an unkillable anomaly. Because SCP-053 makes people violent right away, and because she can heal instantly and always gets back at anyone who hurts her, you can't escape or fight what happens if you're near her. Most people who meet her and fall under her spell die, their lives ending quickly and harshly. This is why if you ever get too close to SCP-053 for too long, you have no chance of living through what will happen. SCP-076, also called Able, is one of the Foundation's most dangerous threats, classified as Keter because you can't really lock him up, you can only try to handle the trouble he causes. SCP-076 has two parts, a strange Blackstone box, SCP-076-1, and Able himself, SCP-076-2, who looks like a man in his late 20s with tan skin, black hair, and many tattoos all over his body showing unknown tribal designs and scary faces. The scary truth about SCP-076-2 is that he's a very strong and angry fighter who can't be killed for good. What makes SCP-076 so dangerous and hard to control is how he acts in a cycle. For long times, SCP-076-2 stays still, often seeming dead, inside SCP-076-1, but then he'll wake up again, usually after 1 to 25 years of being still, and when he wakes up, he tries to get out of SCP-076-1. Once he's awake and out of his box, SCP-076-2 is incredibly strong, fast, and quick. He can run unbelievably fast, punch through strong concrete, and survive hits that would crush a normal person. He has only one clear goal: to fight and cause lots of death and damage. A special and scary power of SCP-076 is that he can make sharp weapons appear out of nowhere. These weapons, like swords, axes, and daggers, are often super sharp, able to cut through steel, and sometimes glow with a bright, cool blue light, which he can make appear instantly. SCP-076-2 is very smart and good at all kinds of fighting, showing no pity or hesitation, acting very mean in every fight, and he seems to really enjoy fighting and killing. The most important thing about SCP-076 is that SCP-076-2 cannot be killed forever. When he's hurt enough to die, his body quickly turns to dust. However, in about 6 hours, SCP-076-2 will start to form again inside SCP-076-1, usually coming out fully healed in just a few minutes or hours, meaning any win against him is only for a short time. Even if by some miracle you manage to stop him or kill him for a bit, he'll just come back to life in his coffin, ready to start his destructive rampage again. You can't beat him. You can't get away once he's chasing you, and he won't stop until his target is completely destroyed, since his existence means that any direct meeting with him is a one-way trip to your end. SCP-008 is a highly infectious and deadly prion disease, much like a virus, often called the zombie plague by the Foundation. It's an active biological threat that quickly and permanently changes living things, especially humans and other mammals. The plague spreads through direct contact with body fluids from an infected person, meaning if you're bitten, scratched, or even touch the blood or other fluids of someone with SCP-08, you're at a very high risk of getting sick. While not as common, it can also spread through the air if infected material becomes tiny airborne particles. The danger of SCP-08 comes from how easily it spreads, how deadly it is, and the permanent change it causes. If you get infected with SCP-08, there's no known cure or treatment to stop the unavoidable change. Once the process starts, it's a one-way trip to becoming an aggressive, flesh-eating creature with no memory or human feelings left. You don't survive the infection. Your identity and awareness are completely gone, and your body becomes a way for the plague to keep spreading. This means it's a guaranteed end for anyone exposed. SCP-610 is a highly infectious biological anomaly located primarily in a remote region of southern Siberia, near Lake Baikal. It shows up as a rapidly growing, mutating, and highly aggressive form of organic tissue. Exposure usually begins with direct physical contact with the infected tissue. It first appears as a skin irritation, like a rash or redness. This quickly develops into scar-like marks, primarily on the chest and arms, then spreads across the entire body within hours. In hot environments, this process can be completed in minutes. Once fully covered, the infected individual's life functions briefly stop around 3 minutes, then restart at an accelerated rate. The abnormal flesh then begins to aggressively grow and mutate the host's body. This mutation is random, resulting in extra limbs, distorted features, or the body splitting open with more flesh growing out. Infected individuals, if still mobile, become hostile towards uninfected life. They will aggressively pursue and attempt to make contact with any uninfected person within their awareness or proximity up to about 30 meters. In some cases, an infected individual will stop moving and root itself. The flesh then spreads from this point, consuming and transforming lifeless objects in the surrounding area into more of the strange tissue. This terraforming creates larger zones of the anomaly. The primary way it spreads is through direct physical contact with SCP-610 infected living matter. Microscopic particles containing the anomaly can also exist in the air within heavily infected zones, leading to infection upon contact with organic material, though this is less common than direct contact. The affected area is strictly contained within a perimeter, and cooperation with the Russian government is in place due to its extreme infectiousness and destructive nature. Anyone attempting to leave the containment zone or who comes into contact with SCP-610 is immediately terminated to prevent its wider spread. There's a plan in place to completely wipe out the whole infected area if it breaks out in a big way. Exposure to SCP-610 is almost always fatal, leading to irreversible transformation and your body completely turning into flesh. SCP-2719 is an anomalous concept or definition that creates a confusing situation when applied. It is not a physical object, but rather a set of instructions or a mental rule that, when invoked, changes the meaning of inside and outside for a designated object or concept. When an object or concept is designated as being SCP-2719-ified, its properties are paradoxically inverted in terms of containment, for example. If you say a person is SCP-2719-ified, then instead of the person being inside a room, the room is inside the person, conceptually. And if a box is SCP-2719-ified, then anything you try to put inside the box actually becomes outside of it, or rather the box itself becomes inside of whatever you're trying to put in it. The most dangerous aspect is applying it to abstract concepts. If you manage to apply SCP-2719 to containment itself, then containment essentially becomes inside of what it's supposed to contain. This means everything that was previously contained would, in a conceptual sense, become outside its containment, leading to a massive breach of all anomalies. The danger of SCP-2719 lies in its potential to undermine reality itself, or at least the Foundation's ability to maintain it. If its conceptual inversion is applied to containment, then every single SCP the Foundation holds would effectively become outside of its containment. Once someone falls inside SCP-2719, the change is horrifying. Their thoughts, their language, even their body start to follow strange rules. They begin to speak in twisted, meaningless ways, their words turning into confusing riddles. Some stop looking human, their very being breaking down into strange information. They aren't stuck in a place, they're stuck inside an idea, their core self melting into a strange, impossible system. SCP-231 refers to a group of individuals, specifically focusing on SCP-231-7, a young human female. This SCP is categorized as Keter, highlighting its extreme danger and the critical importance of its containment, and is in a unique and extremely perilous condition. Her very state of being is directly linked to preventing a catastrophic, world-ending event. To avert this, the Foundation carries out a highly secretive and morally agonizing process called Procedure 110 Montauk. This procedure is arguably the most disturbing task the Foundation performs. Its exact details are kept under the highest level of secrecy. What we know is that this procedure must be executed precisely and regularly on SCP-231-7. If it's ever missed or performed incorrectly, it will trigger an immediate and irreversible series of events. The terrifying reality of SCP-231-7 is what happens if Procedure 110-Montauk isn't perfectly maintained. If the procedure fails, the culmination of SCP-231-7's condition will trigger an immediate and devastating XK-class end-of-the-world scenario. This means the complete destruction of human civilization, widespread death, or an irreversible change to reality that makes life impossible. For everyone on Earth, if Procedure 110 Montauk ever fails, there is zero chance of survival. The Foundation performs this deeply disturbing procedure on one individual, because the alternative is the absolute eradication of billions. It's an agonizing moral choice made for the very existence of humanity. SCP-106 is a humanoid entity that resembles a very old man. In an advanced state of decay, its skin has a black, rotting appearance as it constantly secretes a highly corrosive, black, mucus-like substance. It appears to possess intelligence and shows a distinct preference for hunting and torturing its victims. It is not driven by hunger or simple aggression, but rather by a desire to inflict suffering. Any material that SCP-106 touches, or that comes into contact with its black secretion, begins to rapidly decay, corrode, and decompose. This effect works on almost all known solids, liquids, and gases, and can even affect living tissue. When SCP-106 selects a victim, it will relentlessly pursue them, moving through any obstacles using its corrosive ability. Once it catches someone, it pulls them into its pocket dimension. Inside this dimension, the environment is completely controlled by SCP-106. It is often described as a maze-like area filled with twisting corridors, disorienting layouts, and areas designed to induce panic and despair. SCP-106 will then proceed to severely injure and torture the victim over an extended period. The exact methods vary, but the intent is always to cause extreme physical and psychological pain. There is no known escape from this dimension. Once pulled in, eventually the victim is either killed by the torture or dissolved by SCP-106's corrosive touch, becoming part of its dimension or being used for its sustenance. Once targeted by SCP-106, an individual's survival chance is zero. Its ability to phase through matter makes escape impossible, and its victims are subjected to inescapable torture and death within its pocket dimension. SCP-4666 is a very tall, extremely thin humanoid entity of unknown origin. It is classified as Keter, highlighting its extreme danger and the fact that the Foundation has no way to contain it. Its activity is seasonal and deeply horrifying. This SCP becomes active exclusively during a 12-night period every year. From the night of December 21st to 22nd to January 1st to 2nd, this period is known as its active phase. During this active phase, SCP-4666 targets a single, isolated human family living in a rural area, typically north of 40 degrees, north latitude, with at least one child under the age of 8. It will observe the family for days. If your family is chosen by SCP-4666, there is no known way to escape or survive its attack. It can appear to travel instantaneously, bypass any physical barriers, and seems to be immune to conventional weaponry. SCP-4666 subjects adults to unimaginable torture and death, while children under 8 are either abducted for a horrifying purpose or left with disturbing gifts. SCP-1128 is very dangerous because just hearing or reading a full description of it can put you at risk. It's a Keter-class anomaly, because once you know what it looks like, escaping this SCP becomes a virtually impossible nightmare. People describe SCP-1128 as a huge sea monster, but it looks different to everyone. Some say it's a giant shark, others describe it as a creature with many limbs, or even something completely strange and terrifying. Its form is always meant to make you feel afraid. You become infected with SCP-1128 by receiving a detailed description of its appearance. Once the information is fully processed in your mind, you've essentially invited it into your reality. The true horror of SCP-1128 manifests when an infected individual fully immerses themselves in any body of water. The moment you are completely submerged, you are instantly and unnoticeably transported to an anomalous, vast, and featureless ocean. This happens regardless of the actual depth of the water you entered. A simple bathtub becomes an endless, dark abyss. Once in this anomalous ocean, you are now in SCP-1128's hunting ground. The entity manifesting in the specific form that was described to you will relentlessly pursue you. Witnesses who have briefly returned from this horrifying dimension describe a monstrous chase, a feeling of immense size and speed, and an overwhelming sense of dread. Some victims manage to reappear in our reality moments later. Frantic and terrified, desperately trying to escape the water, they claim to have been pursued by SCP-1128 in that alternate ocean. However, in many other cases, the water they entered simply becomes polluted with blood and fragmented remains, confirming that the entity successfully devoured them. The longer you are infected and exposed to the entity, the worse it gets. The line between its reality and ours begins to blur. You might start seeing SCP-1128 from outside. Even small bodies of water, the entity becomes more aggressive, and its ability to pull you in becomes stronger. There are documented cases of individuals being violently pulled into sources of water far too small to physically contain them like a glass of water, with no remains ever recovered. Once you know about SCP-1128's full appearance, it's only a matter of time, as you can't avoid water forever, and when you do come into contact with it, there's no guarantee you'll come back. The creature will find you, pull you in, and make sure you don't escape. SCP-002 is one of the very first strange things the Foundation found. It's a weird big blob of living flesh that looks like a living room, and it's super dangerous. Not because it chases you, but because if you touch it, you're trapped for good. SCP-002's main weird power turns on when a living thing, usually a person, touches its inside. The moment you touch it, you're pulled quickly and strongly into its body, and you can't stop it once it starts. Once a person is pulled in, their body goes through a quick and scary change. In a short time, the person is turned into part of SCP-002 itself. They become a new piece of furniture in the room, or part of its walls, floor, or ceiling. They just blend right into the living flesh of the room. These new parts still look a bit like what they used to be, but they are now made of the same weird living stuff as the rest of the room, and it seems like SCP-002 grows bigger by eating and changing new living things this way. SCP-002 won't chase you or try to trick your mind. Its danger is simple and awful. If you're unlucky enough to be near it and you touch it, your fate is decided. The Foundation keeps SCP-002 locked up in a safe room. They keep it very cold so it doesn't grow, and if it does start to grow new parts, they quickly blast the room with extreme heat to burn them away. If you make direct contact with the inside of SCP-002, you will be changed forever, and you can't go back. You won't just die, your body, everything you are, will be pulled in and turned into a still, weird part of this living, fleshy room. There's no way to undo this, and no way to get out. Once it starts, you will die in a complete and horrible way. SCP-087 is a dark, unlit concrete stairwell that seems to go down forever, located on a university campus hidden behind a locked steel door. It's about 1.3 meters wide, just enough space for one person to go down at a time, and the stairs turn 180 degrees every 13 steps, forming a spiral. The key strange thing about it is a faint crying sound seeming to come from a small child, about 200 meters down the stairwell. However, as you go down, the crying never gets any closer, always staying just out of reach. This sound acts as a lure, making anyone who hears it want to keep going deeper. As you keep going down, you might start to hear other, more unsettling sounds, like whispers, hissing, or breathing. Eventually, you'll find SCP-2871, which looks like a face with no visible eyes, nostrils, or mouth. This entity is often seen just beyond where your light reaches, and it doesn't appear immediately threatening, but its presence is deeply unsettling. The true danger of SCP-087 becomes clear if you try to leave after seeing SCP-0871, or if you simply go deep enough, the entity SCP-0871 will then start to actively chase you. It moves silently and quickly, closing distances that seem impossible, and there's no escaping it once it decides to chase. Explorers trying to go up quickly often find themselves not making progress or even going down further, as if the stairwell itself is fighting them. All attempts to rescue or directly interfere in SCP-87 have failed, with people either vanishing, being killed, or getting trapped inside the stairwell forever. Once you enter SCP-087 and the deeper strange things begin, especially if SCP-0871 starts to chase you, your chance of survival is 0. The environment traps you, and the entity makes sure you won't make it back out alive. SCP-093 is a disc-shaped object, about 10 centimeters, 4 inches, wide, made from a red, stone-like material not found on Earth, and it has complex carvings on both sides that suggest it's very old or from aliens. While harmless by itself, its true nature as a portal opener makes it incredibly dangerous, as its strange power only turns on when it's placed against a shiny surface, specifically a mirror. When it touches a mirror, the reflection of SCP-093 itself vanishes from the mirror, and the mirror's surface instantly turns into a portal to another dimension. The type of dimension it opens depends on the main color of the mirror's frame or material, either red, blue, green, yellow, or a plain gray-black. Each color leads to a distinctly different, yet always empty and often terrifying, alternate reality. The Foundation uses D-Class personnel, agents who can be sacrificed, with cameras to explore these worlds. What they find are always different versions of abandoned or crumbling structures from our own reality, like homes, hospitals, or factories, but they are subtly or sometimes greatly twisted. Inside these other realities, explorers face not only the dangers of decay and the unknown, but also various kinds of strange, hostile creatures. These creatures are used to their warped environments, often unseen and relentlessly deadly to any living intruder from our reality. They might be shadowy figures, giant insects, or things that drain your life or sanity. The danger of SCP-093 lies in how deadly these alternate dimensions are. Once you step through a mirror portal with SCP-093, you are in a place not meant for humans. Returning through the portal is only possible if SCP-93 is taken off the mirror on our world's side, or if the portal breaks down. For anyone who explores deep into these dimensions or gets stuck inside them, death is certain. Whether it's from a direct attack by an unseen creature, slow decay from a harmful atmosphere, starvation in an endless empty space, or simply giving in to the overwhelming sadness and madness of a dying reality, escape is impossible and your end is sure. This SCP-01 idea talks about the end of the world when the sun changes. It's not about something new coming to Earth. It's about the sun itself turning bad. One day, the light from the sun quietly changed. You couldn't see it happen, but how it touched living things was totally different. It happened everywhere at once, and no one saw it coming. If you get even a little bit of this new sunlight on you, your body starts a scary change. Your skin and muscles begin to melt and flow like wax. Your bones turn soft and floppy. You quickly fall into a moving pile of reddish-orange goo, like melting meat. The scariest part is that you're still awake and can feel everything as your body turns into this gooey mess. You can even make weak sounds. These moving piles of flesh, called SCP-0-1A, aren't just still blobs. They want to greet and pull in any living thing that hasn't changed yet. They can move by making parts of themselves reach out like arms. They can also join together to make bigger, messier piles. Their main goal is to touch people or animals that haven't changed. Once they touch you, you quickly melt and become part of their growing goo pile, adding your thoughts to theirs. Big goo piles can even copy shapes or sounds to trick people into coming closer. The world quickly becomes covered in these flowing, thinking flesh piles, cities turned into huge, moving mountains of melted life. Plants, animals, and humans all became part of the same giant, knowing flesh. Even the air got tiny bits of melted stuff in it, so breathing outside safe places became impossible without special gear. If even a tiny piece touched you, you'd start to melt. The sun still shines, but its light now means certain death, so SCP-001, when day breaks, tells a story where life itself, under the sun's light, becomes the thing that ends all life. SCP-3000 is a huge, snake-like creature, looking like a massive eel, living deep in the darkest parts of the Bay of Bengal in the Indian Ocean. It's so big that no one knows its full size, as we've only seen parts of it, making it a very dangerous SCP that shows its vast power and the big threat it poses to life. It doesn't attack ships or sea animals in the usual way. Instead, just by being there, it creates a strong, invisible cloud that messes with human minds, a cloud that makes people forget things and slowly lose their sanity. It doesn't fight you, it just exists, but its presence makes your mind fall apart. When a person enters the area where SCP-3000 is, their mind begins to break down. At first, you might just feel a little confused, forget recent events, or struggle to remember simple words. However, the longer you stay there, or the closer you get to the creature, the worse it becomes as your memories start to disappear forever. Things like names, faces of family, your own past, or even basic skills like talking or walking. It's not just forgetting, it's like your memories are being erased. SCP-3000 makes a strange, slimy liquid called Y909, and when properly processed, this liquid becomes the best amnestic we know. Amnestics are special drugs the Foundation uses to make people forget things, and they're crucial for keeping secrets about strange creatures from the world. This creates a bad situation. The Foundation needs SCP-3000 to get the substance that helps them protect people from knowing about weird things, even while SCP-3000 quietly ruins the minds of those who get too close. Because it's too big, the Foundation can't truly contain SCP-3000 in a normal way. Instead, they simply watch it all the time and collect its liquid. Special teams in deep-sea submarines have to go down into the very deep ocean, get through the mind-hurting cloud it makes, and take the Y909 from the huge creature's body. These missions are very risky, and many people lose their minds completely from the liquid, even if they manage to return alive. The scary thing about SCP-3000 is how it quietly but surely attacks your mind. It doesn't chase you or fight you, it just exists, slowly taking away who you are. If you are around SCP-3000 for too long, especially close up, you will surely lose your mind and eventually die. You'll slowly lose every memory, every thought, everything that makes you you, ending up completely lost in your mind before death. There's no way to stop or fix the memory loss it causes, making your end a deep loss of yourself. SCP-239 is a young girl, about 8 years old, who is an extremely powerful reality bender, meaning she can change reality just by thinking about it. She's classified as Keter because her powers are incredibly dangerous and hard to control. If she believes something, it happens, and if she wishes for something strongly enough, it becomes true. Her powers are active even when she's asleep, influenced by her dreams, which makes her incredibly dangerous because a child's imagination can be vast and unpredictable, and her dreams might manifest without her conscious control. The SCP Foundation keeps SCP-239 in a deep, ongoing sleep caused by medicine. She stays inside a very strong room with special gear that blocks her mind powers. These extreme steps are needed because of her ability to change reality, for if she were to fully wake up or her thoughts got out of control, she could suddenly change the real world. While SCP-239 herself wouldn't directly kill you, her powers going wild would likely cause a huge, unstoppable disaster, maybe even for the whole world. If she were to accidentally or purposefully change basic things about reality or make a deadly thought come true, then no one would survive in that area, or even the world, because there's no way to fight or escape a reality that a child's sleepy thoughts have simply made deadly. SCP-682 is a huge, scary reptile, and no one knows where it came from. It's just pure anger and hates everything alive. It's marked as super dangerous Keter because it's one of the scariest things the Foundation has ever found, not just because of how much it can break, but because it's terrifying that you can't really kill it. It has super tough skin covered in scales, but it never stays the same shape. Its body always changes and gets stronger when it's hurt, so it always looks a bit different. Its eyes often look like they're burning with smart, evil thoughts, showing how much it hates everything alive. and it mostly makes rough, deep noises, sounds that people think show pure hate and a wish to destroy everything. The scariest part about SCP-682 is its two main powers. First, it's almost impossible to kill. The Foundation has tried everything, but SCP-682 cannot be killed for good. It gets well from injuries super fast. It grows back lost arms or legs, fixes very bad body damage, and even comes back whole from being completely destroyed in just minutes. It has lived through huge bombs, attacks from space, being totally turned to dust, and even fights with other weird SCPs, and it always puts itself back together again. Second, it quickly changes to get stronger. This might be its most terrifying trick. When something new tries to hurt it, SCP-682 doesn't just get well, it quickly changes its body or even its mind to fight back against that exact threat. For example, if fire tries to burn it, its skin might instantly become fireproof. If something crushes it, it might get super, super heavy. This means trying to kill it is not just pointless, but actually makes things worse because it often comes out stronger and harder to hurt than before. For any person who faces SCP